With oil field accidents, the injuries are typically very severe. And that's because roughnecks or people working in the oil field are dealing with heavy equipment. Usually they're on a drilling rig, and when something goes wrong, that machinery causes very bad injuries. Oil field injuries are probably more common in Texas than almost any other state, and that's because we have Eagle Ford Shale just south of us. We have West Texas, East Texas. There's oil and gas fields all over Texas. Therefore, you see a lot more employees who are getting injured. If you're injured in the oil field, you should see a doctor immediately, regardless of how bad you're feeling or how bad you think the injuries are. If you're injured due to defective machinery, you absolutely have a personal injury case. And you have a case likely against your employer, any other company or third party that was out there working at the time. You also potentially have a case against the manufacturer of that piece of equipment that injured you. When I get a case where the client has been injured in the oil field, I typically look to find any and all people or companies that were responsible and negligent and caused those injuries. So if you have a case where there's multiple people or parties involved, I try to go after every single one of them. Workers' compensation insurance is not required by an employer in Texas. If they don't have workers' compensation insurance, then they're what's called a non-subscriber. And they can absolutely be held on the hook for any negligence and also any of your injuries that stemmed from that negligence. If your employer has workers' compensation benefits and you've used those benefits, you still potentially have a case against a third party or another company that was involved in the work that you were performing. It's my job when you hire me to discover every party who may be responsible for injuring you. I've handled multiple oil field accident cases. Those range from clients who had minor injuries all the way to a death case where I represented the spouse of someone who was working on an oil rig and died due to the negligence of their employer. In all of those cases, I believe it's important to hire an attorney as soon as possible, namely to investigate what happened, to interview witnesses, and to ensure that you get the treatment that you need. During an initial consultation on an oil field accident, you will always meet with me. I meet with every client so that I can find out what happened, what their injuries are, how it's affecting their life, and who is responsible. It's important to be thorough and detailed in your initial consultation so that I can effectively tell your story and get the recovery that you deserve.